It's about to be loud. Hang on.
Good afternoon. City of Southport recess meeting from June 11th, 2026 is now called to order. Thank you to those in attendance and those watching the remote. On our agenda, if you should have in front of you or have seen, we have two items. One is the fiscal year 26-27 budget. It's the public hearing. Hearing is held on June 11th. Then we have board and committee appointments. Our main focus and attention will be on the budget. There will be adjustments the board would like to recommend before overall votes on the budget is taken. I'd like to refer to our city mission. Strive for excellence in our government. Excellence in service from all departments. A positive attitude. got the bow tie, we've got that winning positive attitude. Thank y'all for your attitude as well. We involve our community. You're here. We appreciate the input of our citizens. Protect our citizens. Public safety. I'm sure you've heard about the fire last night. This is where your taxpayer funds go into effect, where they work. I want to thank our fire department, our police department, our EMS for their response. Fortunately, there were no injuries and no types of building can be salvaged. In public safety, so important, we're adding 4 police officers. So again, we protect our citizens and access in addition, including keeping taxes as low as possible for our taxpaying citizens. It also says to ensure a safe, secure, and tranquil quality of life. So how we preserve our historic heritage and villages. And I've always stressed the enhancement of the quality of life to President of the industry for all our citizens. So we have our budget, we have our mission. Thank you to the city manager, finance director, and all city department heads, the board, and citizens for their efforts and input in bringing this fiscal year 26-27 budget forward. I call on city manager for his remarks, Noah Salvo, and then we will move forward with any amendments to the budget. Mr. Salvo.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, as we discussed on Thursday, we have the revised budget from your budget public hearing and the budget work sessions over the last few weeks of your hard work. So you have a budget before you today that is balanced with no tax increase after shoring up expenditures and revenues at your direction. Instead of a tax increase, only an additional $68,000 of unbalanced will be needed to balance the budget at this time. So you've done a lot of hard work over the last 2 weeks to come to today on the passage. So I'm happy to have any questions or amendments at this time before we'll have a final passage vote.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. On the merit pay, there was some discussion back and forth. You had presented merit pay at $500, kind of a flat fee across the board. We talked about the challenges associated with that because the 500 doesn't mean for the guy at the bottom of the totem pole the same. So could you talk to us a little bit about what the 2%, if we go back to what we did last year, keeping employees kind of status quo, what that would look like?
Yes.
And to take it a step further, do you recommend the percentage or the flat fee?
Yes. So when I envisioned the $500 in the original proposed budget, that got us to balance without an additional tax increase on top of what I originally proposed, as a flat bonus merit does not go to taxes or retirement or those sorts. I certainly think a percentage increase would be more important for our employees to have more than what the $500 provides for. So I certainly think going to a percentage basis would be very helpful to the employees versus a lower one-time bonus merit, but certainly in the bigger context of the additional one-time bonus was that way due to the fact that the government tax and retirement, but certainly a percentage would be better for an employee.
I have a question just to follow up on that. Okay, we're talking about a merit pay $500 flat fee. How does that work with performance evaluations and what the term I'm used to is raises?
Right. So whether we do a one-time bonus or whether we do a percentage-based salary adjustment, the performance piece will be the same. Employees will still have a performance evaluation sheet that they will be rated upon, and it will go back to that. So not everybody is necessarily going to get the $500, and everybody wouldn't necessarily get the 2%. That's where we went. It's going to be based on their rankings in the performance evaluation process. So that's going to remain in place, whether we do a flat bonus or a percentage.
So the $500 flat fee is actually graduated according to the performance.
That's right. So the $500 or 2% is the cap, and then based on performance will be what the employee actually get. For some numbers, if we went to a 2% merit base salary adjustment instead of $500, we would need an additional $62,933.21 of additional dollars in the budget than what is currently in the proposed budget. That's
That's in addition to what we budgeted for the 500.
that's right. So that would mean other cuts, other unbalanced appropriation or tax increase.
No, correct me if I'm wrong, but the advantage of doing merit is it doesn't add to the compounding effect of the city's taxpayers' contributions to the 401k. It doesn't add to the city taxpayers' contribution to the pension that is required by law. And to go with a percentage, that would added to base salaries, that would be compounded for years to come, to go with a percentage.
That's correct.
But you have a plan, or one of the alternatives is to stick with a merit bonus, but that merit bonus could be, and I just throw some raw numbers, that could be 250, 500, 750, but the average would be about $500.
That's right.
Or the cap.
The cap currently is $500. We could change that cap to $750, $1,000 for the merit
Oh,
bonus.
without changing the financial impact of the merit overall.
The merit bonus.
Well, it's still an impact. I mean, if you're doing 2,000 versus 500, it's an impact. So, can you find out what it would cost if we had, what would be the high end?
So if you went
at
to,
2%?
if we went
I don't
to,
know what y'all make.
if we went to, so if your average employee makes 50,000, let's say that, you do a 2%, that would be $1,000.
Yeah.
So that's kind of depending on the salary, would be the 2% would be the high end of that.
Do we know what 2% would compound that over the next 20 years if it was added to their base salary?
We can do 68,000 times 20, and that doesn't include additional raises or merit bonuses over that time. That would just be the 1 year carry forward.
Can you, have Joey do the math at 1,500 being the cap?
So that would be, an additional 70,000 as a 1,500. So that would be the additional dollar figures in this year's budget, but that wouldn't carry forward in base salary.
So they get the bonus, that would be equal to or equivalent to 2%,
Right.
give or take. But it would not carry over
That's right.
to Alderman Gross's point as a compounding cost to the taxpayers that this entire board supports and loves and protects.
Are we the only city contemplating or already doing this?
No, most cities do a percentage-based merit. Leland, I'm aware of in our area that does a flat, dollar figure across the board. But there are those that have done it before, and Leland is certainly that example, but the vast majority across the state does a percentage merit.
And what is Leland's, kind of cap?
2,600.
Yes, it's actually a base 2,600, and then it actually is a percentage on top of that of their pay, depending on whether they're a manager, general employee, supervisor, that level. And I think that percentage ranges somewhere between 1% to 4%.
And what's Leland's incentive package? Like, what is their 401k and healthcare and all of that? Because if we're talking about the merit bonus percentage, we need to look at the full picture, not just what that looks like.
I actually think I have, give me just a moment.
Thanks. I think we've gone very strong for our employees for healthcare and for 401k, and I think that the manager's suggestion to do the flat rate makes a whole lot of sense in order to keep the budget where it needs to be at this time.
The manager doesn't actually want to do that though.
I understand, but we also can't be house poor.
And the employees would gladly go on Oak Island's, program if we were allowed to. They would be happy to pay the $35 a month that Alderman Gross suggested, but the insurance that we provide them is not equal to or better than. So there's that.
I would also add that teachers and state employees across the state of North Carolina, don't receive a percentage merit increase. They've been getting bonuses for a number of years now.
Well, we're 48 in paying teacher pay, so I told.
That's a standard to follow.
And we don't have to pay the taxes that you do in California or New York either, Karen.
I want to be sure I understood you. You're saying that the state employees, such as you are, are doing the flat fee merit pay as opposed to percentage
Bonuses.
on base?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Teachers and state employees.
Alderman Kelly, to answer your question, so it's a $2,600 flat increase. It does look like all employees get a 1.5% percentage increase as well. They also offer a retention bonus, which varies from 2.5% to 7.5%, depending on staff level. So that's where that varies. They do a 401k match of 5%, and they are on the state health plan.
Who are you talking about, Joey?
This is legal.
Oak Island does no 401k match whatsoever. Excuse me. Oak Island requires a 401k match dollar for dollar by all its employees except the police department. I spoke to their HR director last week about that. We still have longevity, do we not? Which is a reward for staying with us. And that's something that teachers and state employees have had for years. And I have no problem with longevity.
What's the percentage on that?
It varies based on your years of service, Karen. 10, 15, 20, 25. I recall it starts out around one, I don't know what ours is, 1.25, goes up to 4%.
Oak Island's mayor makes $10,836 annually. Town council makes $7,470 annually. Just if we're going to compare grapefruits to grapefruit.
And Leland's town council makes $1,000 a month stipend, $12,000 a year, and Leland's mayor makes $15,000 a year. Mr. Mayor?
Castle Beach,
And
St. James.
And Leland also-
Zero.
well, can I finish my comment?
Well,
Yes, sir.
I'll just go to finish my comment without interruption, please. Leland's mayor gets $15,000 a year, and they get an extra about $1,800 for serving on some sort of K-2 committee, K-2 organization.
The longevity starts at $75 and goes up to $1,000. So it's based on years, 0 to 1 year, 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 18, so forth, up to 20 plus years. So 75, 150, 250, up to 1,000.
per pay period or?
Now it's a flat one time a year, one time payment.
Like a bonus.
Bonus. Wow. That's really what we get these on.
So really the question is do you want to keep mayor at a bonus or go to a percentage of that bonus or percentage?
Mr. Mayor, I think that we lean on our city manager for this. I think his suggestion initially balances our need to make sure the staff understands that we appreciate them and the need to balance budget.
Mr. Manager, do you agree that $500 is your recommendation or the percentage is a better option?
I think, you know, it would definitely be better to have a higher than $500 if we're going to a flat rate. But then, you know, the question then comes, it was the board's direction of the majority not to have a tax increase, where else do we cut that from to bring that over would be the question.
I just want to remind the board that we had some strong votes that were 4-2, and the majority spoke. So be it. There'll be no employee contribution to their health insurance. of $35 that was on the table. There'll be, no requirement for the employees to contribute a dollar match to their 401k. That was another strong vote that we took. So the employees have fared well this budget session, not having to contribute to their health or their 401k. And I think that the merit bonus was an excellent idea to avoid compounding costs to the city on the 401k, because you're not just talking about increasing the amount for merit. When you talk about a percentage, you're not talking about just merit pay. You're talking about how it compounds the 401k and the health insurance, excuse me, 401k and the health insurance. I'm missing the other one. But it eliminates the compounding effect of salaries in the future.
The 2% is more of an incentive. It's better for the
It's in keeping our
employee.
employees competitive with what's going on in the market. And, you know, our employees are, again, I think, you know, many of them would agree, they'd be happy to pay the $35 if they got the coverage that Oak Island was offering. So, and I don't know if y'all received those messages, but I surely did. So, you know, these are the things that keep us competitive with what's going on. Whole Beach is now hiring, I believe, police. They just made put out a public notice that they're hiring police officers. So, you know, we continue to maintain a competitive work environment. We've talked, and we've gotten a lot of scrutiny over, in fact, I think over the last 6 years, every administration has bitched and complained about our turnover in our city manager and others. And guess what? It continued throughout all of them. Not one of them found a solution, except that Miss Bonnie had a case study completed that has brought light to what we actually need to do for our people. And we can either choose to follow it or not. If you want turnover, don't. If you don't want turnover, follow it.
We have followed it.
And we're doing a great job. Why would we stop now?
We have followed it and we're continuing with the COLA as well. as
All
we're-
of this is part of that.
Are you making a motion to amend the budget at this point?
I'm not yet. I mean, I want us to have open conversation about it. I'm receptive to moving towards a higher, you know, but we know what the cost is. Noah said if we move to 2%, it's going to take us to an additional 62,933. If we move the merit pay from 500 to say 1,500 or 2,000, what does that do for us? Is it the same 62,933?
So it's gonna be a little different. If we went to 1,000, it would be an additional 26,500. If we went to 1,500, it would be 70,000.
What was that for?
Apply for jobs, the city. Not sure exactly what it is yet, but I think that would be great.
We made 12,000.
Yeah, and how's our turnover right now?
However, it's still relatively low. We don't have a whole lot of turnover anymore.
Pretty strong argument that Southport's a great place to work with, salary wise and benefit package wise.
Because of what we've been doing over the last several years. That's what that tells me. If turnover has slowed down, then it says we're doing something right. We don't want to undo that.
But the majority voted not to raise healthcare costs, not to require 401k match. That's fine. But we also have 4,200 employees that 4,200 residents that we have to answer to on our taxes.
They're not getting increase.
About the 401k. If we require a dollar for dollar match or any kind of a match, we don't gain anything from that, other than the possibility that it might discourage them from making a good decision about planning for their future and retirement. So we might lose some people. As it is, Joey, was that like 21 people, 21 employees are in the 401k?
No, roughly half the employees are
Okay.
currently. The 21 was the
So save the city money by adding a requirement that they contribute.
We don't know exactly what that number would be though. If it's a dollar for dollar match, instead of 5 employees giving 5% and contributing nothing, maybe they would do an annual election that I'll do 2% and match the 2%. So we don't know the exact figures, but it certainly would require the employees to have some skin in the game on their 401k. As a former state employee, I had a 401k, I had to contribute, state contributed 0. But they were very generous on the pensions, as Southport and the local government commission is, and pension is a great thing to have.
I'll have this one. I feel what, with the $500 merit, and whatever you call it, the bonus, that's less than $10 a week in 52 weeks. But we're saying for all of our employees, that's your merit. I don't see anything very meritorious about that. That's just me. With that.
It seems that the 2% has worked well in the past. And I believe that's where Alderman Carroll was going with that in that regard. And our employees have reached out to us and the 2% has been beneficial to them, that merit raise and recruitment and retainment of our employees, that they have a healthy and happy place to work. It's a quality of work life that we want, and you get better service, you get just get better service if your employees are inspired and feel like they're appreciated and they're being reimbursed in a very good compensatory way.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I do. I want to recap. Okay, our choice here is $500 cap on merit increase versus a 2% merit increase or raise cap. Not everybody would get the 2%. Some people are 2% would be an absolute stellar employee.
Based on performance.
Yes, okay. The $500 also based on performance,
Yes.
but if we went with the 2% as opposed to the flat fee, how much would this add to the budget?
62,000.
62,000. Okay.
Does that include the impact on 401k and longevity?
That's inclusive. $62,933.21 is inclusive of all salaries for them to pay all that.
I mean, I just feel like the percentage is more fair, basing it on their salary and not an arbitrary number.
I'm sure, yeah, I agree.
That's
with you
for me,
because-
that's the hard part. And then let's say we say, okay, well, let's do 1,500, I'm making this up, but let's say we're doing 1,500 instead of 500, right? That's still not based, that's still an arbitrary number for each employee and their responsibilities and so for me, the percentage makes more sense because of that. I mean, that's just how it seems. I understand what you're saying about it, compounding and all of that, but
And you
it
said,
just makes more sense.
no, I remember right, you said 1,000 or 1,500 would be 70,000.
1,500.
So 1,500 gets us to the 70, that gets us to 70,000, or we can do 2% and be at 63.
Let's come back.
What about a 1% bonus, up to a 1% bonus? Not as a compounding salary, but a one-time 1%.
Excuse me, I have that it would be, so total cost of a 1% would be 61,717.
As a bonus, not as.
Correct, yeah, that's just what the flat cost would be. we can set it up any sort of way, whether it's a recurring, if it's set up as a bonus, it's all just how we set it up in the, within the budget.
I would be good with it being a bonus, frankly. I think.
As
But,
opposed to the percent?
Well, no, it would be a percent, but it would be a bonus instead of compounding.
So if we do that, what is the percent that you,
Does that make sense? So well, I would propose the 2% bonus.
So for reference, a 1% bonus across all full-time employees averages out to a $709 bonus. That's an average of all 87 current employees.
And you could modify that, some get 500, 700, 900.
Correct. You would have some that actually come in less than 500 with that. It looks like it would range from 471 up to around 1,200. So,
can you factor it with the 2%? I know it's just doubling those, but I'd rather you do it.
yeah, so a 2%. So the total cost, so again, what was budgeted was 500 per employee at 87 employees for this. And I'm just going to clarify, I know the total number is 91. 4 officers coming in would not receive merit because they would not receive 1 year until fiscal year 28. So that number is actually 43,500. The total for 2% would be 123,433. So that number does change from what was budgeted. Let's see, 1 second. So 2% would cost 79,933, so an extra $17,000.
An extra 17 if we went to 2%.
So it's, no, 2% would require an extra 79,933. Yeah, the 62 number update once we remember the
933.
that 500 was originally like it applied to you guys and the part-timers. So once we remove that out, just the 500 times the 87 is 43,500. So we were looking at another $80,000 to get to a 2%.
That's above the current $500 bonus.
Correct. That's above. So right now we have 43,500 budgeted for all 87 employees to get a $500 bonus. Every number I'm going to give you is above that. So what?
So the 61,717 is over and above the 43.
No. So the 1% merit is 61,717 is the total. So it'd be an extra $18,000 to go to 1%.
And that would not compound. So in keeping with Alderman Gross's goal.
The only thing that would factor in, so what this, where that 1% is coming from is 1% of total wages, which is going to be their base salary is what's in the system plus the 2.75% COLA. And then 1% of whatever that gross is per employee. So again, that's where that averages out. 1% averages to a $710 bonus per employee. 2%, like you said, on Marcelo would just go to, the average bonus would be 1420 roughly.
The 1% bonus, with Alderman Kelly mentioned, would add an extra 18,000 roughly above the $500 bonus that was in Noah's original recommended budget. And it could increase the cap on the bonus, as I understand it, to 700. And the 18,000 is, it's not a material number to me in terms of, we're looking at a $15 million budget, 18,000, I mean, you take that out of fund balance, which I know it's already decreased the amount coming out of fund balance down to 60 some, as I recall. And I would care if you took the 18,000 out of fund balance to get to the 1%.
Yeah.
Paul mentioned 710 would be the count, or 710 would
710 is the average.
Okay.
And that's, again, we have some people that are entry level making, roughly $45,000 up to our department heads. So again, with 1%, there are going to be some instances where an employee would actually be receiving less than the 500 proposed currently.
And just to clarify, we throw the term fund balance out a lot in these workshops. And for those who are watching and in attendance, about 4 or 5 years ago, our fund balance was pretty low, 4 million, 5 million, not where it should be in the event of an emergency. And we wrote a policy, I actually wrote it, y'all approved it, and we're on the right path to keep a solid fund balance but now that $4 or $5 million figure is up close to what, $13 million? And where did that growth come from to go from 4 to 5 million to 13 million? It came from revenue, higher taxes than we really needed to have over the last 5 years. Leftover funds that were unspent that dump into our general fund. So they're basically our tax money that we did spend, revenue we didn't spend, that helped grow that substantially from 4.5 to $13.5 million over just 4 or 5 years. And certainly need to keep an adequate fund balance, but we also need to make sure we're not overtaxing our citizens who are already finding it difficult to pay their bills here in Southport.
Did that, and we have these exorbitant employee costs that are just skyrocketing, but we were still able to put money aside.
I think it was important to plan for the future, and that should be a criticism. It should be applauded, and not overtaxation or that.
So
type
we're
of thing.
preparing for what we had, the boards before this board and the previous boards kicked the can.
They went 5 years with no tax increase, so that's not what he's telling.
So 2% is gonna cost us what, Joey?
Roughly $80,000.
80,000. So 1% costs us an additional 18, and 2% is gonna cost us an additional 80.
Correct. If you wanted to ensure that all employees got it over that 500 threshold, I mean, 1.5% is an option. That's costing roughly $49,000.
We're having a calculus class, so trying to give a bonus to our employees. I'm not.
At a 1.5.
Seriously,
I think that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
For me personally.
And
When is the bonus actually?
It's gonna be on the anniversary date of the employee, so it varies throughout the year.
So then you're doing, the appraisal, about performance, you do that at their anniversary, is that what that happens?
That's right.
So
You
if you
sure
don't,
we understand. Okay. And finding that some of the, public doesn't quite follow some of our terminology here. A bonus is not just something we hand out. We are proposing to, instead of evaluating somebody and coming up with an evaluation, and performance review or whatever, and then saying, okay, then you can, we're gonna add X number of dollars a month to your pay. Okay. I would call that a raise, all right? But if we're calling that a bonus, the advantage of calling it a bonus is that it doesn't get added to the base pay that they already have. So rounding it off, somebody makes $50,000 a year. They get a certain amount as a bonus instead of a raise. We follow it along, right? So it seems to me that right now our choice is, are we going to go along with the bonus approach? Or are we going to stick with simply a percentage of salary? You know, you're making 50,000, so you're doing a great job. We want to reward that by increasing your pay by 2%, whatever that is. And that will then roll into pension, all the other, and it will continue to compound every year. So either we give raises on a percentage basis, or we change the word, don't call it raises, call it bonuses, so that it's not added to base pay.
Yes, and I'm good with that.
and it's a merit bonus. Can I get some clarification? Joey, when you quote those numbers, 1% would add an extra 18,000 above what, was in Noah's original budget.
Yes, sir.
2% was at 79,000. Are those the annualized figures, or are those the figures that we would actually incur this fiscal year, FY '27? Because if you're not getting appraised and your bonus, well, you're still getting it.
So that is
You're still getting the full
I'm
amount.
gonna use this word, it's a worst case scenario from the city's perspective, because that 2%, it's essentially 2% pool. That figures 2% of the total salaries. We have very few, if any, employees that get a two-word require and exceeds expectations in every category they're rated on. So this is more of a curve, we would have the average of what it would be. Some employees are gonna come in and be below a 1. Some are gonna be 1.5, some may reach 1.8, 1.9. If it is an exemplary employee, then they could get the full 2%. This is a cap of what they could potentially receive on their review. So, yes, sir, to answer your question, the 2%, that figure I gave you is if every single employee received 2%.
But if we reduce it to 1.5, as a bonus, not a merit pay raise, then,
That's just an annual.
yeah, can we get, and that's gonna cost us an additional $49,000 that is not.
Now, next year, we can't sit there and say that it's gonna be $49,000 every single year, because, if we continue adding COLAs, then that, that rate changes, so. As payroll changes, that number will increase or decrease over the years, depending on what, employees looks like.
I'll get it Christmas.
$500 flat bonus.
So $500, net. So we do gross that one up. So the actual amount, I think, this past year was like 721 or 738 per full-time employee. That way everybody gets a flat $500 net into their account. Part-timers is $250 net.
I should have said, I apologize. It would have been eight.
I think the Christmas bonus is a long time tradition in the, for city employees, going way back. I don't know when it started from my research, but for quite a long time, the city has been, giving employees a Christmas bonus, a Christmas gift.
It's flat. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not objecting to the Christmas bonus. I just want to point out, I've worked 39 years in state government and Wake County government, never got a Christmas bonus. Maybe I should have went to work in Southport 39 years ago. But anyway, I'm not opposed to the Christmas bonus.
You have more for us?
Now I'm just ready for a consent.
Does anybody have a motion that we can talk about Easter bonus?
1.5%. 1.5% bonus is what she's saying.
I would recommend a 1.5% bonus. To Alderman Gross's point, it does not compound it. And I think that's a fair. I can make a motion. I make a motion to amend the proposed budget to provide a 1.5% employee bonus instead of the proposed $500 flat bonus.
Have a motion, for 1.5% bonus instead of 500 flat. Is there a second?
Conversation.
A lot of conversation.
Is there a second on this motion?
Is this gonna die for lack of a second? I'll second it so we can continue to talk about
Okay,
it.
we have a second by Alderman Davis. Further discussion?
Jody, if we do 1%
Yes, ma'am.
with a minimum of $500, so those that would, the 1% would be less than the $500, we pull them up to 500 to make everybody feel all warm and fuzzy. What does that look like? Because I'm having a hard time going $50,000 right now.
Sorry.
Thank you. I mean, because if we're only talking 10 employees, that could potentially be a huge savings over the 1.5%. I want to, thank you, I just want to understand what we're doing.
Yep. Give me just a second.
Okay, I'm good at this.
That's not me. Excel is.
I would love to give everybody 10% bonuses, but it's just not a feasible thing.
Let's go 100. Go 100.
It's a great idea. Do I hear a motion?
So handing the one-time injection, is the tax worse there than handing it to them monthly?
Yeah, there would probably be a higher tax liability with a one-time large payment than spreading it out over. Depending on where
Would we like to perhaps, amend this, motion to, first of all, make a decision on whether we want to go with bonus or just raises, a percentage raise. In other words, is it gonna be added to the base pay or not? And do we want to adopt that mechanism or not? And then we can have a second motion about what the amount would be. We're trying to do two things. We're trying to
I think we
change the
have
process
consensus
and how we do it, and then we're talking about how much. So let's talk about how we're gonna do it. Are we gonna stick with, the idea of going with a bonus process so that we don't add to the base pay? Let's decide that. And if we decide yes on that, then let's talk about how much.
I'm okay with that, but I think we have a motion on the floor right now, so.
Yeah, so I thought we had consensus of bonus versus, I think we have consensus.
I think that's a great thing to formalize and vote on it, so that way we know what we're doing.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll withdraw and just make the motion that we, do, I mean, really, that's gonna be, okay. What do you want to say? Does that we agree?
We put a 1% increase.
No,
No,
not what we're doing.
We're doing the process.
I've got a difference. We go with the 1% salary increase per year.
Look, we have a motion there.
Just 1% per year added to compounding.
We still have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, he was-
You would-
Oh, you withdrew that, I'm sorry. So, I'll make a motion.
Well, we got,
Sorry, just made a motion.
Alderman Spencer just made the motion.
Oh,
It's
okay.
fine. I'm by myself in that motion, but I'm there.
You made a motion, is there a second?
what is,
Maybe y'all can have that now.
no, I'm still,
Y'all can have that now. Gentlemen.
My thing is that 1% still doesn't get that employee,
So, right, so
you
to,
know what I'm saying? I agree with the merit. I just think 1% is too low.
I do know that the compounding can be beneficial because we had somebody who was cutting grass making more than a director at a certain time because of their longevity. So that compounding works. I've seen it. So.
I'd like to make a motion that
we still.
we do a
Nobody
vote.
seconded it.
Right, but they were thinking, they're still
Only
thinking.
because I think it has to be more than 1% because it's a.
We haven't seconded this. We
So
got a
I'll
motion,
second,
and it's just, you know,
I'll second,
now we
so
got-
we have discussion.
We can strike out 1% as an amendment.
Yeah, that's fine. What's your number? Is there an option to go ahead with the salary and you'll come down yourself?
Yes, Mark, I would do that at 2%, but if there's a number between 1 and 2 that you're good with, I'm good, I will meet you there. If you're good with 1.5, I'll do 1.5. If you want to amend it to that,
I'll amend it one time.
okay, my
So
second.
what's the dollar figure on 1.5 merit to the salary adjustment?
Restate the motion, please.
Joey had just found out the number that I asked him for a few minutes ago.
so to Alderman Kelly's question is, what would it be to get everybody to 500, 1%? There would be 8 employees that are under $500 as it stands. That total number would then go to 18,459. So it's about an additional, like, I don't know where my first.
So it was nominal, so the first number was
So that number was 18,549. This number was 18,216. So $250 roughly to make sure everybody got a 1% with a minimum of $500.
Okay, so the motion, Alderman Spencer.
1.5. On the,
Base salary.
base salary. Compound.
Joey, what's our dollar figure that we need to additional?
We would need an additional $49,075 to do a 1.5% merit.
Does that cover the, 401K additional contribution would have to kick in? And the longevity, the additional longevity contribution would have to kick in? Because now we're basing it on their base salary after emergence.
Right, so that's inclusive of compounding on 401K, as I mentioned, that 49,000 is all inclusive.
I'm trying to get.
Okay, so the motion is 1.5% on base salary, and that would increase the budget by $49,075. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Robert said.
Robert, second. Okay. All right, any further discussion?
The compounding, Joey, the number you gave, 49,000, that's just for FY 27. It doesn't account for the compounding over the next 10 to 20 years, which has got us to where we are in our budget, which is not sustainable. We have an 89% increase in personnel costs over the last 4 to 5 years. We can't sustain this level of costs in our personnel costs by continuing to give out increases that are going to be compounded for years and years to come.
That's a long-term incentive to stay with something.
We have a retention bonus already.
We have a longevity.
I have
We
to
have a 401K that requires no match.
vote.
Okay. All right.
Can somebody restate the motion?
It's 1.5%, bonus on the, base salary, and that would increase the budget by 49,007.
This is not compounding.
It is compounding.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
No.
Show of hands.
Oh,
Yeah, three.
It's 3-3. Yes, sir.
In 4 years, I did not vote once.
In 4 years, I did not vote once. And why this board cannot come to some.
I thought we had an agreement at one time, the bonuses, but apparently we don't.
I'm for the motion to, for the employees at 1.5% base, which would increase, the budget $49,075. Motion carried.
I don't know. I gotta think about it.
Okay. Any other amendments not quite so, complex, for, the budget?
But I have some comments.
We're getting 49,000.
I think we still have some amendments to look at too, but we can talk before then.
Okay,
Well,
well,
she wants to speak.
well, if we want, because I just wanted to take a moment in a way, in response to something you said about we've increased staff costs and that sort of thing, because and I said this early on when we were talking about the budget a couple of weeks ago about that I'm in favor of a tax increase, right? And I appreciate that, none of us like that, but we cannot continue to spend fund balance. I appreciate that we've built our general fund, we got this many needs. We got millions and millions of dollars in just stormwater alone that I don't know, in the foreseeable future, we'll never be able to. But, what I think, is missing from this conversation is that we need to be honest about what happened when the city transferred the water sewer fund to the county. These are not new costs down. A lot of what is perceived out in the world as new costs down. These were existing costs that we knew about, and they were going to shift to the general fund when we gave the county the water sewer. I know. Before the transfer, I think, I want us all to remember this. Before the transfer, a significant portion of city staff costs were being paid by the water sewer fund and the electric fund. 2/3 of the costs for the board, administration, the whole finance department, 2/3 of that. The HR director was being paid by the enterprise funds. The water sewer fund paid 60% of our street personnel costs. It paid for our engineers. All those now are 100% in the general fund. And so it gives the perception that all of a sudden prices have skyrocketed. And so the water paid for additionally, the water and sewer fund and the other fund paid for the public works director and the admin personnel. So when that went away, it all shifted to the general fund. And that's where you're seeing these big discrepancies, is a lot of that's coming from that. And because this is what we said back when we were doing it, when we were going with the county with it and recognizing what was going to happen. We said that residents would see their water and sewer bills go down dramatically. Well, we did. Our average 3,000 gallon bill for the county is about $67. But when we had it, it was $133. Yeah. And so that roughly comes out to a savings of about $800 a year. Well, all the information that the manager gave us about what this little 1.5 tax increase would be for a house, which was the median house, which was 428,000, was $64 a year. So we're saving $800. So the money's the money. So we're going to we cannot keep looking at fund balance and achieve what we need to achieve for the city. And so that's what I would say about that. I mean, I would say a lot more, but I'll stop with that.
I would just add, Karen, that I was part of the negotiations in Bonnie area, along with the contractor that we hired, along with Tom Stanley, when we started negotiating the transfer of the water and sewer to the county. And it was the right thing to do. And I think every taxpayer and every citizen in this city who pays the water and sewer bill saw their bill drop and save approximately $600 a year in water and sewer fees. That was the right thing to do. There were a couple of cuts, as I recall, made in the finance office, and maybe a couple of cuts made in Tom Stanley's office. So there were some adjustments made in the personnel when we gave that water and sewer up. A town of 4,200 people has no business running their own water and sewer system that's cost millions and millions. We're already seeing the county struggle with managing managing water and sewer, especially given the growth of this county. So I really believe it was the right thing to do. It saved the citizens a lot of money on the water sewer bill. And we should not say, oh, we shaved you $600 here, but we want to take back $200 now to increase taxes so that we can have everything we want. That's just not fair. But I'm glad we transferred that enterprise fund to the county, and I'm glad to say the citizens and the business owners of Southport a tremendous amount of money on the water and sewer bill.
But we did that and started that in 2019 because regionalization was the way to go. So certainly a good side effect from that was lower cost, but to regionalize that service was the right thing to do for our city, for our citizens. And
Let's
that's
not
why we
forget our
started.
sewer system was crumbling and we were going to have to come out of pocket significant amount to do that. It was
25 million.
anyways, but that's.
Let's
we
not
got
put ourselves like that. We're
My point
transferring
with
that.
this, my point with this is, what I was saying is that we didn't just hire new staff all of a sudden, or it's just simply, we're paying for it a different way. And it's not realistic to think that we're not gonna have to have in the future raise taxes, because we cannot keep taking away. It's not sustainable to keep dipping into the fund. It's not sustainable, not to achieve all the things and capital projects and things that we need. That's all.
Yeah, I would hope that in the next fiscal year, Noah, the city can do a workload analysis of all our staff. It takes 2 weeks to do a workload analysis. I've done, you count for every minute for 80 weeks, for 2 weeks, and then they're evaluated. Also an analysis on span of control. Do we have too many chiefs and not enough Indians? And that's another study that I've done in the past, where you're evaluating, do all our supervisors have the correct number of people to supervise? Do they have too many? We need another supervisor. Do they have too less? We need less supervisors and more Indians. So that's another study that I would hope we could get along around next year. But, you know, there's some significant differences when you look at similar sized communities in Brunswick County. Now, I know there's some differences, but again, Charlotte has 62 FTEs, Sunset Beach has 60, we have 84. That's a significant difference. And maybe these analysis will help us define why the big difference between 60 and 62 and 84 employees. And maybe there's some legitimate reasons why, but maybe there's some areas that offer some opportunities for some efficiencies.
So any other amendments, very good comments, already. Any other amendments to the budget?
I just want to ask again, that budget as presented right now still has to be 4 police officers instead of the 2. Do I understand that correctly?
Or is included?
And then do we decide where we're getting the 49,000 from?
So the board that would be fund balance, tax increase, or further cut.
Well, I'll make the motion, there will be no tax increase this fiscal year. With 18 out of 19 communities in Brunswick County can have no tax increase, then we can. Okay.
None of us are raising taxes.
None of us are raising. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody? Yeah. No tax increase. Okay, we're not fund balance.
Well, we can consider, I mean, I mentioned at one of our meetings about the stipends. I mentioned again today that we're making more than most of our surrounding communities. I'm glad that we did not take a huge hit to our employees, so I'm not as strong about it, but if we want to talk about that, that could be safe. I was much more firm when we were taking away from those that are actually doing the work.
We could fund the difference.
We could certainly, yes, $84,000 that we made, so we could fund that and help reduce what we take out of fund balance.
Well, I would like to say that when I ran for office, I knew that $1,000 stipend would allow for me to be in meetings during the day, would allow for me to account for my children's time elsewhere, and I would have to figure out a different way to do that.
Leland stuff is 1,000.
Yeah.
Oak Island's is 750. And what does that stipend do? Well, when I go to City Vision for 3 nights, I don't request my hotel. I don't request meals. I don't request travel reimbursed. That's what comes out of my stipend.
But they are budgeted in our budget. So we're over budgeting. So to you saying we need to budget for employees 2 months later, we're over budgeting for something. And you're saying that that's wrong.
I'm just saying I don't think travel.
But we do budget travel and training
I don't think
in our budget. And if something needs to be printed, you can go to town hall and print it.
Yes.
Some of that, I believe the city covers our hotels automatically when we're booked. I personally have not submitted for mileage for going to those things. but there's a cost to those. It's not just our,
Time.
well, that, but if there's no, it's not just the credit card slips that get turned in because we got gas on the way. It's the cost of the actual, conference that we go to. It's not a free conference in many cases. We're having to pay. In
The
order
city's
to-
not reimbursing you for those conferences?
Because the city pays for those upfront. So that's the line item for the training and that stuff. That's
So what are
what
you using your town's, I guess I'm just trying to understand the justification behind stipends for public service.
I bought food,
Okay.
bought food with it. Actually, or something important.
And I'm good with us not talking about it. I just, it's one of those things where that's been the argument is that, we have expenses and we don't, when it was an issue with the employees and we were gonna take away from them, I was certainly gonna make sure that I had the conversation, but at this point, if we wanna use more fund balance, I'm good with using fund balance to make up $49,075.
I make this job my priority
Yeah.
at this moment. When people call me, I quit doing what I'm doing, take a shower, go listen to them, go back and do what I'm doing. I give them priority all the time for that amount of money.
Yep.
You change the process, then the politician comes out, and I'm educated on how to open a campaign account. And then we can collect money from individuals rather than the community. And we can be aligned with just individuals who help us get along. Which one would you want to do?
No, I agree with you. I'm good with you, Mark.
It's the way, it's the pure way to do this, and to keep young people into this, on these tables, putting input into the future of Southport, rather than an elitist group of people running the show, which is the way we're seeing out there on the TV and media right now. We don't need to add to that. So I think it's bad conversation.
What I'd like to say is that we're already past the vote of this, but I wonder how many of our citizens understand that we are paid $12,000 a year as a stipend. That's the same level as Leland. Oak Island is $600 a month, which is $7,200. Charlotte is $5,200 a year. BSL is $3,000 a year, and Sunset Beach is some weird, it's $2,205. And what I'd like to say about this is, I think that public service is an ennobling activity. I think that we should be rewarded for the tremendous amount of work that's involved. I mean, it's practically, and sometimes more than a full-time job to do this right.
is the right word.
I'm still talking, please. Which doesn't mean that we should eliminate the amount that we would be paid. If we were to reduce that even to half, 500 or 600, this would cover a lot of expenses, but also acknowledge the value of the work we do. And so I would like for us to come back to this. We've accepted where we are right now, but it's something to come back and talk about. The size of Southport versus the size of Leland or Oak Island. We're askew. And I think that we need to both honor the work that this board does, but also not turn it into excess pay. That's what I want to say about
Can I make a motion?
Yes. It was $800 about 6 years ago. There was a motion made, 650, okay, 650. And so there were two people on the Board of Aldermen who did not own the 100 that they were representing. That we were both renting. There were two people, and they're both in this room today, as myself and the police chief. We were both on the boards, and we were the local guys, and we couldn't even afford to live in Southport. And Mr. Jim Powell's mother stood up and said, we need to pay more so that the young folks can participate. And it was a great thing for me. It saved me in hard times. And again, no one in this room has heard me ever ask for money. I don't need it. You already pay me and I don't want any more. And I'm thankful for what I get. If they damage this, you won't get the friendly hospitality of coming in. You'll get a politician that hang on, wants you to contribute to their campaign funds. And that's not the way to do business. And again, I have never done that. I don't have a campaign account at all. So, and I don't want it. I really don't.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026-2027 City of Southport Budget Ordinance attached fee schedule as amended.
Including an additional appropriation of $49,075 for fund balance for the employee rate.
Yes, sir.
Second.
And the motion is second. Any further discussion?
I've got one more thing to say on what we were just talking about. In the last 4 weeks, I've attended 12 meetings in this capacity. That does not include meetings for the county that I attend. It does not include the meetings that I go to, for the Department of Transportation. It does not include any of those. Purely as my capacity as alderman, 12 meetings in the last 4 weeks. That's time that I cannot be in my own business. That's time that I have to pay someone else to be in my business. And that's time away from my children. And they understand that I'm doing this, but I would like to say thank you to the board and to the citizens for understanding that when I ran for office, I knew that that $1,000 stipend was part of it, and it allowed me to be here.
Can I ask for clarification on the amendment? We've had a lot of conversation. We've had a lot of conversation this morning, and does that amendment include the 1.5% merit added to their base salary?
Yes.
It does.
And there's an additional draw on that.
49,000 million of them.
Right.
I would like, while he's thinking about it, we need to work on fine-tuning our processes. It's clear that we always budget, but it seems like we always have a surplus. And that's where we come up with this excess money that we're talking about. We need to fine-tune our departments and look at the 12 different events that we do every year and make sure that they make money. And if they're not making money and they're just wearing our employees out, we need to fine-tune our processes. This year's, you were talking about the sewer. We knew that we were behind like $1 million when we changed over. And we tried to take some of the excess cash and make it easier so that we could survive. We're still coming out of that problem. We're going from coming in on the weekends and going in and fixing a sewer line to digging drain lines for stormwater. Mike Spicer and that crew, they're the strong arm. They're the ones doing 2 times the money. It would have cost $20,000, but we're doing it for 10. The money's being well spent with our employees. And when you're making it to where they're making a strong salary, we're going to keep them. So I know that some people don't want these increases, but it's good long-term business. And we keep our waiting until maybe someone leaves. What is the name for it? Attrition. Yes, I know. Rather than getting rid of folks, we cut one job out of this budget, and it was in code enforcement. It was not a code.
Parks and Rec as well.
Okay, yes, thank you. So there were jobs that were cut on this. And as time goes on and we again work towards what do we do now that we don't have sewer? What do we do now if we don't have 12 events every year? Try to fine tune those budgets and not spend money that doesn't get a return. I think we do too much chasing money. We go around the tree to make it all. So,
Sure. Yes, sir. There are things in this budget that I vehemently do not like. There's also things in this budget that I do like. And sometimes the process of budgeting with your colleagues is a give and take, is a compromise. I don't like the merit bonus. I don't like the merit added to the salary because of the compounding effect. But I appreciate the no tax increase pledge from this group. I think that's a win-win for everybody. But there are a lot of good things I like about the budget. Cutting that $68,000 contract to cut the cemeteries, good move, Noah. That's being taken over by existing staff. Now, in the back of my mind, I gotta say, what were those existing staff doing last year? Now all of a sudden they've got capacity to take over cutting 2 cemeteries. Maybe Tom Stanley is just so motivated his staff that they've got a lot more energy and they can take on more. But the $68,000 cut was for that contract's helpful. So again, there's good things in here I like, there's things I don't like. I don't like taking $1 million out of the general fund. However, we're aware that if the fire fee passes the state legislature, that number is going to decrease substantially. And correct me if I'm wrong, Noah, that number is going to decrease from $1 million to $500,000 roughly. And I'm glad we're getting to a more sustainable funding source for our fire department. And I stated in the budget workshop, I support the fire fee increase. That at least people who live outside the city limits are now paying their fair share for our fire services. But there's positive and there's negative in this budget for me, but I recognize the heart of the deal, compromising, and we'll just see how my vote goes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the budget for fiscal year 26-27 as amended, please raise your hand. Looks like it is unanimous. Any opposed? Okay. Budget passed unanimously. Thank you, board. Excellent work. Thank you, staff. Good conversation. Good discussion. Our next item on the agenda is board and committee appointments. And we will start first with the ABC board, Alderman Russ.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to ask for a point of order before we get into these appointments. One of the questions that has come up frequently and I'm asked by the general public is a public hearing required before repealing an ordinance? The answer depends on what exactly the ordinance does. If the ordinance simply creates the Historic Preservation Commission, if the ordinance primary purpose was to establish the commission itself, appoint members, define duties, authorize studies, recommendations, etc., then North Carolina law generally does not require a public hearing before repealing it. The council would still need to comply with open meetings requirements and any local procedural rules. But a formal public hearing is not typically mandated by state statute, as we've not formally adopted a Historic Preservation Commission overlay.
What does that have to do with ABC board?
I would question why we are going forward with appointments to the HPC Commission today, when the direction that the board appears to be going in is not a quasi-regulatory one, but a voluntary advisory.
Can we do that when we get to that? We're at ABC right now. This is ABC board appointment.
Sure.
I mean,
You're not gonna make me repeat what I just read.
No. I thought I had this down on what the introduction was.
The ABC board interviews were conducted by the chair, Mr. Wheeler. the vice chair, Zach, and myself as liaison to the ABC board. There were unanimous, that we have 4 vacancies. One of the vacancies was completely open as a current board member decided not to run, and that would be Zach. I'll go one at a time to keep this thing simple. The first position we voted on was the Jim Poppy. He's a current board member, and it was a unanimous vote, 3-0, to reappoint Jim Poppy for a 3-year term. So I would make a motion that we follow up and adopt that.
I brought it up at the beginning of the last meeting.
Yeah, she did, she
I offered to recuse myself, we didn't vote on it.
Do we want to do that before we do?
Well, you can wait until you get to that specific.
Yeah.
You can vote on the other.
The second position.
We have voted.
We have to vote on it. Seat 1.
All in favor? Any opposed?
No.
The second vacancy was a seat held by Adam Stedman. And the vote of the interview team was 3-0 unanimous to reappoint Adam Stedman for a 2-year term. There is a state ABC law that requires us to stagger the terms, and we have not been in compliance. So we're trying to get into compliance with that now also. But that was a 3-0 vote.
Thank you.
Can you clarify, is that seat 2?
That's
That
right.
he's got, that this would be seat 2 for Adam, and this for to 29?
Right.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second for Adam Stedman. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried.
A third seat was the vacant seat of Zach, who's not rerunning, did not reapply. And for that particular seat, the committee unanimously is recommending Dave Geary. Dave brings a very unique set of skill sets. We don't see it as a conflict of interest. He's a professional taste tester. And what I mean by that is he doesn't taste the goods or the product. He goes to the various ABC stores and offers free tastings for his company, who works for a distillery, to market their products. There's very specific laws for this. You can only get 1/8 of an ounce. You can only have 2 tastings. So people don't leave the ABC store tasting. But Dave impressed the group because of his knowledge of the product. And we think he'll add a lot to the ABC store in terms of marketing recommendations, maybe even help us get some additional drops, which is where we make the most money.
Have we asked our attorney to look into that as far as the conflict goes prior to this appointment? I mean, if not a conflict, it certainly has the appearance of one.
How is that we've got these all stacked, so the last one, we have to make a decision. We're sort of making decisions on these ones, and then the last one, there's a decision there. There's not one choice.
Oh, I hear.
Well, the last one was,
But the thing with what I think Robert's meaning, and you may have already gotten the answer for it, well, in the past, we nominated someone who was working somehow affiliated with alcohol, for lack of a better way to say it, and we wound up not being able to appoint them. So we had to correct that. So if, I don't know that job, that business, but I would ask that you might, and maybe, Todd can answer that
we're going to
question.
start looking into that. Mr. Geary does not work for any distilleries directly. He works for a third party.
He works for a distributor. I mean, I got an application and he, do you have his application?
Yeah.
I mean, it threw up a red flag for me immediately.
I think that if we're premature in making a decision here, we should hear from our city attorney on the issue of whether this was a conflict. of
North
interest.
Sea Program, this is a marketing company for the distillery.
I was, we don't know yet, and so we could delay this until July.
I have no problem with looking at your legal decision.
Yeah, I just don't know. That's the only thing. Since you're state regulated.
I have no problem looking into a legal decision.
Will displace David until July.
And then the other, interview slot was for the one currently held by, Angela Wadsworth. That was a split decision. It was 2-1. There was 2 votes by William and Zach for Angela Wadsworth, who's the current member of the board, and 1 vote was for Gabe Azzato, that I made. And it was made based on our own individual opinions of the interviews and the background and skill set that they brought forward on who best would represent the Southport ABC.
I'd like to bring up again at the beginning of the last meeting, I did bring up that my brother applied for the ABC board, and that is Gabe Azzato is my brother, so I have nothing financially to gain, neither does my family by this appointment.
No,
So now the question is, do y'all believe it is a conflict or not? And then rule on whether, if you do believe it is, then you excuse her from the vote or not.
So that would be both David Geary and
That would
David
displace it.
Azzato as to whether we need to delay that to determine whether that's conflict or not.
We've determined that we're displacing David until the July meeting. We'll get all that information. So now,
Alderman Kelly has a comment.
Mr. Azzato is, so now do you want to recuse Rebecca? Do you believe it's a conflict that it's her brother, or do you not believe that?
I think it's awfully close to looking like at least a conflict of interest.
When in doubt, sit out.
My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that conflict of interest, you have to have a financial conflict of interest according to the state statutes.
That's right.
And I don't know that Rebecca has a financial interest, and Gabe, he doesn't work for a winery or a distillery. He just brought a lot of retail marketing experience to the interview that impressed.
Mr. Davis has been on the board forever. And I really do value his input. Was there a reasoning behind his weight being behind Ms. Wadsworth?
And I don't want to speak for other people, obviously. I think that, when you work with somebody on the board, he's worked with Ms. Wadsworth, you develop a loyalty and friendships. I don't want to speak for William. William's position actually expired in 2025, but I believe it will be expiring in 2027 now. But we are trying to get in compliance with ABC board state law to not have it. You can't have more than 2 positions expire at one time. And we were out of compliance with that.
I have a conflict of interest. This is my only paying landscape customer, Miss Angie White.
It's not,
I make a big amount of money coming out of that. Any conflict of interest?
In a small town, we
She
all.
ain't promised me any more money. She's the only one that pays, so.
So I think on Alderman Kelly, I think we need to show of hands of, does anybody believe it's a conflict for her?
I think that's.
we could also displace this until July, giving us an opportunity to have an attorney at the meeting.
I would be glad to take a motion where we, Angie Wadsworth and Gabe Azzato to the final 2 positions, and let's move on.
Is that a motion?
Yes, it is a motion.
I'll second that. So that would put Angela Wadsworth in seat 4 or seat 3,
Yes,
and David Zotto in the other.
yes.
I'm not following.
Instead of David, right here.
We're not, that would eliminate David Geary.
Correct,
So there would be Angela Wadsworth and Gabe Azzato.
correct.
So we have a motion.
We need to know which seats. So is there a preference on the seats or the expirations?
You just said 3 for Angela, seat 3, and seat 5 for Ms. Rosado.
I'm good
That would
with
be
that.
great. That would be great. I agree.
I'm good with that. So,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. So Angela Wadsworth in seat 3 and Gabe Zotto in seat 4.
See.
5, excuse me. Sorry.
I would only like to point out before you vote that William, Zach, and I unanimously recommended Dave Geary because of his background and skill set and what we think he can bring to the ABC store that's already reducing our revenues from $575,000 a year to $264,000 next year. We've taken some big hits on our revenues, and we do feel because of his expertise in product, he can bring a lot to our marketing strategy to increase our sales, net revenues, and bring more revenues back to Southport. And that was a unanimous vote of William, Zach, and myself.
So what's the motion?
Yeah.
The motion is to appoint Angela Wadsworth to seat 3 and Gabe Zotto to seat 5.
And that's already been seconded.
Yes.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion, 5-1, motion carried. Thank you.
No, I can vote, I just.
We didn't do
We know where you were.
We knew you were.
Well, then I
Well, that's
can
good.
see 3 or see 5. So I went.
Oh, was it about
What I would say is I would hope that you
Well,
would
that
call
may be-
him and ask him to continue to volunteer, participate. Because we've got a lot of people who are not going to be able to be appointed to committees that apply.
He could do excellent.
Yeah, so I think it would be a great consult at every meeting.
They need working at forestry for done to come on.
No, that's speaking of forestry.
You're a forester, I'm gonna care.
There's special drops you bring in the revenue.
So, forestry, we had 2 seats available. We had a total of 3 applicants, 2 that ended up actually interviewing. The recommendation, the interview committee was made up of myself as liaison to forestry, as well as the vice chair, Fred Fisk, and the mayor who was sitting in as the chair's seat was up for reappointment. So the recommendation is to appoint Scott Lynn and Michael Proctor. I'm sorry, Corey, is there a seat that I need to mention in this motion?
Seat 1 for Michael Proctor and seat 7 for Scotland.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Sorry, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Okay, Michael Proctor said C1 and Scott Lynn C7.
Correct.
So let's make a
Is there a
motion.
second?
That is the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, second by Alderman Davis. Any further discussion? Clearly, excellent candidates, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Planning board, Alderman myself.
Mayor, we were completed interviews, you got the information in your packet. We had several candidates, really strong, good candidates. And again, just like with the ABC board, it's our hope that they'll continue to participate and start coming to our meetings. And but it was the unanimous agreement from the subcommittee, Alderman Kelly, myself, and Mayor Hayden, that we reappoint Mary Ashley to seat 4 and Ed Eckert to seat 5. And that's a
Second.
form of motion, yeah.
The motion is second for Larry Ashley, seat 4, and Eckert, goodbye. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, Board of Adjustment, Alderman Spencer.
Yes, sir. All right, for Board of Adjustment, Chief Pete Haslett, The chairman, Jason Robbins, vice chair, and myself interviewed. On full consensus, we have a motion for Chris Eckert and Tuck Master. Seat 3 for Chris Eckert and seat 6 for Tuck Master, to be reappointed for their full term expiring June 30, 29. Make a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and second.
There's a third seat.
There are two others.
Okay.
They were not consensus.
So do we want to go ahead and do seat 3 and seat 6? And then come back to
Move these two.
Motion from seat 3 to second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jerry Reitenbach to seat 4, which is a June 30th, 2029, planning board position.
I second that.
Adjustment.
Board of Adjustment, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I second that motion.
There was no consensus on that.
No consensus.
It is a motion.
I'll make it.
For Mr. Reitenbach, for, the motion and second for Mr. Reitenbach, for Board of Adjustment. Any further discussion?
I understand that there are pending violations, the code enforcement violation, and that therefore I suggest that this would not be a good time to make this person, to appoint this person to the Board of Adjustment.
Are there any times?
Their opinion.
Okay, what on?
I just follow in front of me, and I want to be careful of
Yeah,
Can we just,
defamation.
I stand on the motion for sure.
can we displace it until next?
You speak up, please. Can people speak up? So we can hear
Let's just go ahead and.
what this,
Well, I mean, you made a motion.
Let's go ahead and motion is second.
Just for the purpose of getting the, I mean, so that we know what we're talking about, can we displace this until the, just for, do you have those? Does anybody have that information?
I had it, but I didn't bring it with me.
we all have it here, but
Yeah.
for whatever that's worth. I got a stack of things like this that talk about Mr. Reitenbach.
Can't.
Are we all up to speak?
No.
Oh, sorry.
So,
Sorry.
just,
I say we call the vote.
yes, we have a motion and second, and, a vote is in order. All in favor?
I mean, the concept, would you prefer to displace, push it off until
You
July?
can change your motion if you would like, or you call it the vote.
So
And I had information for last week's meeting, so mine's not updated, and there were existing, violations, two violations, zoning violations.
And that was for moving the tractor or something.
And, I mean,
I would like the information on it. I think that's. If this is correct.
It shouldn't, we need to.
there were two violations,
But
but I don't, without having staff here to confirm it. But I feel like, that we, need to have a policy in the future around our zoning. I talked with Brady about that, and we can do that in the future, that if there are outstanding violations, it's one thing to point to cemetery or beautification or something, so that's why I'm struggling with this.
I would like to call them, and we move from, it's starting this till next week.
Okay.
I didn't hear you.
He's gonna call it.
like to have a motion and a second, for Mr. Reitenbach to be, placed on the, Board of Adjustments. Show of hands, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 4-2 against. Motion did not carry.
I'd like to make a motion that we bring that back next month. We put that on the agenda so we can find out more information about that.
I second it.
Okay, a motion and a second to bring it back, to determine more information, concerning this matter, particular violations. All in favor? All opposed? So,
I'll go with the odds to bring it back, but I have an opinion on it.
so it's.
I just want to know what we're dealing with.
Okay, those who want to bring it back, okay, and those that do not. So,
Three, three.
So, let me clarify, are you saying to bring back Jerry specifically, or are you saying both seat 4 and 5?
We'll do both 6, 4, and 5, and I'll agree to that.
Okay.
Bring it back. Fine.
I think it was
Well,
just.
it's non-consensus on 4 and 5, so I will amend my motion to bring back seats 4 and 5 for Board of Adjustment at our next meeting.
Why,
Second.
why,
Well, I don't know what seat 5 is going to be. I just know that there's questions
well,
about.
who was the other candidate? It's in our packet. Y'all, you had consensus on Sue Hodges. Did not? What was it?
2-1 against me. I think, honestly, there is no clear cut vote on that. Ended up in a bar fight. So,
So why would you lump that together?
I don't, yeah.
We already passed a motion to 4-2, to not appoint, Mr. Whitlock. And so,
We should move to the next
yeah,
candidate.
we move on to, and so
Alderman
we,
Kelly wants to bring that seat back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to bring
So
this
since
back.
we didn't have, well, I guess to her point, she wants to know what she doesn't know,
Yeah, I
What
don't
which is
know
fair,
about,
which she doesn't.
I don't know about what the,
Outstanding
outstanding
violation.
violations are. If it's somebody had a car parked in their driveway the wrong way, I don't think that that's worth not doing. I mean, I
That's
just,
separate from the other appointment. That's not the same conversation.
well, I understand, but we're bringing with that, but just bring it back to the time.
Why? There's no
I don't understand
violation.
why that's not the same conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't know, it's not consensus for two, so it just seems to make sense.
Well, we voted on things today that were non-consensus, so as far as consensus is concerned, I don't think that's the question as it relates to seats 4. The question that,
Okay, I make a motion that we bring seat 4 for Jerry Ragenberg back next meeting. If you request that we have information about what the violations are.
but we're gonna have to rescind the
Motion
motion
and a second.
to appoint. I mean, to not appoint.
We haven't done this.
You already declined it, but.
Yeah, I declined it. I fixed it. I didn't vote again, it's because I didn't know what the violations were.
We've already voted. The Board of Adjustment was voted either.
The next motion will be to appoint Sue Hodgen to lead.
I don't know that we did.
We didn't finish the
Yeah.
vote on the bringing back, so we had a motion and a second. All in favor of bringing, the, find out what the code violations are on Mr. Rosenbark, and look at that again at the next meeting. All in favor? Any opposed? This was forced to, okay, motion carried.
Next motion is to appoint Ms. Sue Hodgen to the Board of Adjustment for seat 5, expiring June 30th, 2029.
Have a motion and a second to appoint, Ms. Sue Hodgen to the Board of Adjustment. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
No.
Okay. So it's 3-3.
Yes.
So
What was it? Wait,
she voted.
yes, I voted
She said
yes.
aye.
So it's 3-3. So I vote to appoint Ms. Hodgson to the Board of Adjustment, and so it'll be 4-3. Motion carried. Is that all?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
For the purpose, just
Yes.
for this next one, I don't know how the board's going to go, but can we just place the Historic Preservation Commission until July as well, considering that we're going to have a monumental vote on that subject at that meeting?
If you want to make that
Next
motion.
motion that we move any appointments to any Historic Preservation Commission to our July regularly scheduled Thursday meeting.
Good motion. Is there a second?
Point of order. I believe I brought up the first conversation in motion. Can we vote on that one first?
Earlier, that was not a motion, and you didn't have a second.
I'll enter. Let's just vote on this. And see where we go.
So we have a motion to place Historic Preservation Commission appointments to the July regular Board of Aldermen meeting. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-1. Okay, motion carried. So that will be it on our July meeting. Cemetery Committee, Alderman Spencer.
We had 2 people interviewed and, my motion will be to appoint Mr. Larry Ashley back to the cemetery committee for seat 1, expires June 30th, 2029. That's a motion.
Second.
All in favor of Mr. Larry Ashley, we appointed to the cemetery committee. Any opposed?
Mark,
Motion
did you
carried.
want to mention about working on ordinance?
We do need to readjust that ordinance. We've got positions that are come from beautification, come from historical, that are just people are on other committees, get a second seat on this committee. I would like fresh ideas, independent.
Because you had some good candidates.
So we have, Mr. Rod Park was also a candidate for the cemetery. Maybe he'd be good enough for the cemetery. I don't know. But, we appreciate his applications.
We will have to address this as an ordinance too.
Not today. Not today.
Okay, all right, thank you. And board, and citizens, I appreciate the work that has been done today. The committee is very pleased that we have a budget. I hope you all are pleased that we have a budget in that regard. And we thank every one of you, and worked on this and, yeah. I just do want to wish everyone a happy and safe 4th of July. A happy Father's Day. God bless all your fathers and the memories of your fathers, if that's the case. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion, have a second.
All in favor? Motion carries, meeting adjourned.